Hey, welcome to EPN. My name is Victor Lucas, and we bring you the latest in everything cool every single day. Thank you so much for joining us on another adventure called EP Live. We've got a bunch of you guys in the chat right now, so we'll get to talking with you a little bit later on in the show. We have a jam-packed episode for you. Reviews, content, a guest, and a fantastic game to let's play and chat a little bit later on. But let's get started with your rundown. Today, our rundown is dedicated to Doongie Forever, who says the rundown is the best thing on YouTube. That earns you today's rundown right there, Doongie. After almost a year of delays, the Nintendo Switch Online subscription service will finally launch this September. It's basically the Switch version of PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live Gold, which means users who want to access online games will have to pay a monthly subscription fee. $5 for 1 month, these are Canadian prices by the way, $10 for 3 months, or $25 for 1 year. There's also a family membership for a $45 a year cost, where up to 7 users can share the same account. That's got me, rubbing my chin beard there. I think I might be going for that one. Like other online services, Nintendo Switch Online will offer extras, including cloud saves, which means you'll finally be able to back up your Switch game data and access to a library of 20 classic NES games like Super Mario Bros. And the original Zelda. Nintendo hasn't said if games from other classic systems like the SNES will become available, but they have said that they're not going to include a traditional virtual console on the system, which means you'll have to subscribe to the online service to get the old games. Finally, the service will continue using the Nintendo Online smartphone app, which will be the only way to voice chat. So there's some great news in there, some not so good news, some ridiculous news, and it's a lot to unpack and a lot to talk about. And we're going to be talking about it with our guest today, who I will introduce to you after the rundown. I think I'm going to pause on this right now, but it is interesting that Nintendo has finally entered the subscription fray, and you're going to be able to pay a price per your year of connection and get extras. I think that's important, and it's a very big move for another massive player in the video game industry. But we'll come back to this because it's a big story. Oh, now over in the world of high finance, this is another big story, and superheroes. Disney might not buy 20th Century Fox after all. Rival media conglomerate Comcast is reportedly planning to make an offer to buy Fox and its assets before the Disney deal is complete. If they do, it could force Disney to offer more money or walk away from the deal altogether. Whoever buys Fox will get access to its subsidiary studios, as well as its film library, including the first Star Wars movie, the Fox television catalog, including The Simpsons, and the big screen rights to Marvel characters like the X-Men, Fantastic Four, and Deadpool, which Disney and Marvel obviously want. Unlike Disney, Comcast is a telecommunications giant that owns internet service providers and cable companies, which could open up antitrust problems if they try to buy Fox. They also own NBC Universal, and I think this is the key to the deal here. There are a lot of Fox properties at Universal theme parks, like the Simpsons ride. You've got the Fast and the Furious and stuff like that. Actually, that's a Universal property. But they have worked with Fox on different things. There's Marvel superheroes that have, the rights have been shared all over the place, but there are Marvel, theme park attractions in the Universal parks out there. And because of this, bounty of IPs, and there are already existing channels to capitalize on these things, this is a very attractive ingredient for Comcast, and also just for the competitive advantage of not letting Disney have the rights to all of these different characters and different intellectual properties. This is going to be an interesting situation, and I'm very curious to see how it develops. I can't see Disney letting this go. If this becomes a bidding war, I think Disney and Comcast will go back and forth until a big price is kind of settled on. These are massive properties that mean a lot to both entities. And if Disney gets these properties, anything that is Fox owned and licensed to Universal for their theme parks could have major ramifications for what exists in those parks, because suddenly a lot of those properties could end up being on the Disney lots. Interesting days, and certainly there are some antitrust and monopoly type fears across both spectrums of this deal. Very curious to see how this all comes together. Now, Iron Man is going back in time to investigate one of his other big movie franchises. Now, we're not talking about Iron Man from the Avengers going back in time to save the Avengers or anything. Robert Downey Jr. is set to star in a third Sherlock Holmes movie, which will hit theaters in December 2020, 9 years after the last movie came out. Jude Law will be back as his sidekick Watson, although it's unclear if director Guy Ritchie will return as well. The first two films earned more than $500 million each, and along with Iron Man, helped propel Robert Downey Jr. back to the top. So it's a little surprising that it's taken so long for a third film to get made, but he has been pretty busy as Iron Man in a million movies, so I can understand why he hasn't been able to sort of dedicate like a year of his life to go and live in England and sort of take on this role. I think he's a terrific Sherlock Holmes, and I think it's hilarious that two fantastic Sherlock Holmes are in the Avengers with Benedict Cumberbatch and Robert Downey Jr., and especially the last movie having so many scenes going head-to-head against each other. I like the first movie a lot, the first Sherlock Holmes film. Obviously, it's more action-oriented because that's how Guy Ritchie kind of frames his flicks. He's also working, I think he's working on, he's not doing the Lion King movie, I think that's Jon Favreau, but Guy Ritchie is working on a big Disney animated to live action adaptation right now, and it's probably making him very busy. Talented director, doesn't always, what's he doing? Aladdin. Oh, he's doing the Aladdin movie, of course, which is, good luck. But Guy Ritchie doesn't always hit it out of the park, but he is super talented, and I have enjoyed, I enjoyed the first movie a lot, and I think there were elements of the second movie that were enjoyable, and I think Downey and Jude Law together are a pretty good combination. So I'm seeing this. So you guys might not, but I'm going. I'm excited. So 2020, poof, it's on my calendar. Now, audiences won't have to wait much longer for more Arrested Development. Netflix and Fox Television have announced that the long-awaited 5th season of the cult comedy series will be available to stream starting May 29th. They're capitalizing, I think, on Ron Howard directing Solo with that date. It's not all good news, though. According to The Hollywood Reporter, several cast members are battling to get extra compensation from 2013's fourth season, which was recently recut and re-released, so the actors are demanding more money from the episodes. They've turned 13 episodes into 22 to kind of get a better deal in syndication. And I don't think you can just do that and not give money to the people that are involved. That seems a little shady to me. On top of that, Jeffrey Tambor will appear in the new season despite troubling sexual assault allegations that caused him to be fired from his other streaming show, Transparent. Audiences will just have to decide for themselves if they still want to watch. Yeah, I think this is a very troubling element. I think it's going to be all over the news, and I think that Fox and Netflix are going to do everything that they can to kind of, respond to this and try to quiet down the people banging the drums against this. Anytime that you've got scumbags attached to these things, it's pretty hard to get super excited about it. It's hard to separate the person from the work sometimes, especially if it's assault allegations, So we'll see. We'll see if the fallout around all of this stuff on Transparent ends up really hurting Arrested Development. I'm a fan of that show. I'm a little behind, but and I'm still curious to see these things, and there's lots of great actors and lots of great work involved in these things, so I'm excited to see it, but yeah, I think the Transparent stuff is going to be a stink that Arrested Development does not need. It looks like we're finally going to be seeing more big exclusives on the Xbox One. It appears that Microsoft is building up a new game development team in Santa Monica to create titles for the Xbox One. Several job postings from the company show that they're hiring new talent to create new franchises and ship AAA games, all of which will be based around original IPs. This indicates that Microsoft wants to increase production of new exclusives on the Xbox One and future platforms, which is good news. I say great news. The lack of first-party exclusives has been one of the biggest problems for the Xbox One, especially compared to all the exclusives on its rival, the PlayStation 4. Hopefully, we'll be seeing some cool new Xbox games at E3 next month. This is exactly what Microsoft needs. I think they have to have the specter and the shadow and the stench of the failure of Kinect in their rear view. They spent a lot of money trying to make that a technology that mattered to people, and it ended up not mattering to that many people. It was too much too soon. The promises were too big to kind of, keep. But what it ended up doing is it really affected the sort of, the financial sort of health and welfare, I think, of the Xbox game development division. And, now that they have probably had to do a lot of write-downs on that technology, and they've had to rejigger their tech and bring us some excellent new machines in the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X. It is time for Xbox to come out swinging, and this is the E3 to do it. And frankly, if they don't, I think there's going to be real ramifications for the division at Microsoft. I mean, they have to step up to the plate, and they can't swing and miss anymore. There can't be a bunch of like, oh, that was pretty good, or oh, it's too bad it's not that good. They got to be awesome games, and they need to surprise us with some IP that we've never heard of, some names, some brands, some people. It's time to get excited about what Microsoft has got going for us, and it's all on you now, Xbox. Can't wait to hear what you've got in store for us.